This presentation will overview how data is gathered and presented for classroom teachers. When a teacher logs into Literacy Pro, the first time they see their class, there's no data recorded. This also happens in the same way at the beginning of a new school year. As soon as students in a class start taking the test and quizzes, data begins to report on the teacher's homepage. This is an example of just one student. The data builds as student by student tests are taken and quizzes completed. The homepage for teachers summarises the key metrics for the entire class. It has the average Lexile for the class, growth after students have taken further tests, the average class quiz score, total number of quizzes taken, quiz pass rate, and total number of words read. There is also two key reports, the expected growth report and the reading proficiency report. This is another class whose data is gradually building up over time. Each time teachers log in, the data updates as well as the reports. The home page data updates every few minutes, so if it's not there immediately, just wait a few moments. Now we're going to take a look at the way data is reported for teachers by class and student. From the Literacy Pro homepage, go to the Reports page. Here you will find several options for reports. You need to scroll down to get right to the bottom of all the options. We're going to start with the Lexile Growth Report. All class reports default to the current school year. To view the Lexile Growth Report, click on View Report, and you'll be shown a list by student based on their first and most recent Lexile. In this case, because it is the beginning of the school year, all students' first and most recent Lexile are the same. There's also a table view, and you may export or print the report and close. If you have historic data for the same class last year, you may access it through the drop-down menu. This data shows the Lexile growth for students who were in the class last year. In the table view, you're able to see the test data from the first test to the most recent and the variance. Knowing a student's current Lexile is important for matching them to books within their reading range. But what Lexile are other students in the same year level reading at? What is the norm for a year level? That is, what is the average end of year Lexile for each level? The Lexile Compared to Norm report provides this data based on Metametrics research. To view the Lexile Compared to Norm report, click View Report, and the list of students with their current Lexiles is displayed, along with the norm or average end of year Lexile for that particular year level. In the table view, the variance to norm from the student's current Lexile is shown as a numeral. So how much Lexile growth do students actually show in a year? What Lexile growth can a teacher expect of each student? Metametrics did research to find this out, and this is shown in the Expected Lexile Growth Report. The Expected Lexile Growth Report calculates the expected growth based on the first Lexile the student has in a school year. The table view shows the growth as a variance. In this case, you can see that the expected growth varies from student to student. Students who start on lower Lexiles are expected to achieve greater growth. It also shows the gap to the end of year Lexile norm. For several students in this class, the gap is an indication that these students may need special intervention or extra support. As students take the test throughout the year, their current Lexile on this report updates. Hopefully, it becomes closer and closer to the expected end-of-year Lexile, or exceeds it. The expected Lexile growth report is considered one of the critical reports in Literacy Pro. For that reason, every time the teacher logs in, it displays and updates on the teacher's home page. So what level are the texts that students are expected to read at their year level? Novels, textbooks, non-fiction, across all learning areas. What level do students need to read? Metametrics research is reported in the benchmarks. The benchmarks list the range in which students need to read to be proficient readers. For example, for this class, Year 4, to be a proficient reader of the text expected for Year 4, students need to read in a range of about 600 to 900. Basic students, reading below that level, are likely to struggle, and below basic readers are definitely going to need extra support just to be able to read the everyday texts they're expected to read at their year level. So what reading proficiency do the students have compared to the texts they're expected to read? The Reading Proficiency Report provides this information. The Reading Proficiency Report shows the percentage of students who are proficient readers, advanced readers, basic, and below basic for the class. The report may also be viewed as a graph that shows the distribution, but also lists by student the proficiency range in which they fall. In this class example, these students are reading at a basic level and so will certainly need support for the text they're expected to read. These students are reading at below basic and will need intervention to help them improve their reading and to support them across all curriculum areas. Like the Lexile Growth Report, the Reading Proficiency Report is reported on a teacher's homepage and updated every time they log in. Throughout the year, they can track to see how their students hopefully gradually improve from being basic and below basic to proficient or advanced. The purpose of Literacy Pro is to assess students so that they can be aligned with books in their Lexile reading range. By reading books within their range, they've got the best opportunity to maximise their reading development. A way of tracking how well they're reading is to use the Book Comprehension Report. To find the Book Comprehension Report in the Reports tab, scroll down, select the year you want, and view. Each student is listed with their current average quiz score. If students are reading over about 70%, this indicates that they are reading and comprehending at an independent reading level. If they're reading below 70%, then they may not be comprehending what they read. Another way of considering students' comprehension is whether they're passing the quizzes they attempt. This is shown in the Quiz Pass Rate report. To find this report, scroll down, and click View Report. This report lists the students and the percentage of quizzes they attempt and pass. It may also be viewed in the table, so you can see how many attempts have been made and what the pass rate is. The reports examined so far list all the students in a class. But if teachers want an overview of an individual student, they go to the Reading Report Card. You access the Reading Report Card for an individual student in two ways. First, you may access from the drop-down menu by class. Just click on the student name. The name will appear at the head of the report. Or you may type in their name and search, and the new name appears at the top of the report. The Reading Report Card lists for any individual student all their key metrics and activities. The current Lexile, Lexile growth if they've taken more than one test in the year, date of the last test, the proficiency band, certificate level if they're entitled to a certificate, quizzes attempted and passed, average quiz score, the Lexile of the texts that they're reading and passing, words read, points earned, and if you've added teacher added points, the teacher added points, which total into the quiz points. If you scroll down the Reading Report Card, you come to the Student Lexile History, which we've already pointed out has the option to view their history over multiple years. In addition to that, you are able to view the student activities. This includes quizzes that have been taken, their Lexile of the quiz, the word count, the date of the quiz, score, and points if they were earned. You will notice that the Reading Report Card includes not only quizzes from the current year, but also from previous years. So you have a comprehensive history of the student's activity. You may also view the quiz that the student took, which will show the student's answer and whether it was correct, and where they made incorrect answers. You may also view the student's comments and their book ratings. At the top of the Reading Report Card are also several print options. One of these is the student test. Literacy Pro stores the most recent student test. You may view it on screen or print it. The final class level report, if you scroll down to the bottom, is a class Reading Report Card. This report card summarises all students and their key metrics. The historic data for this report is reported differently to the other reports. So if I go back to the previous school year, I see that the list contains the students that are in the current class, but with their history from the previous year. So what reports answer what questions? What reading growth are my students showing? Use the Lexile Growth Report. How do my students compare to the average end-of-year Lexile for their year level? Use the Lexile Compared to Norm report. How much growth should I expect for each student? Use the Expected Lexile Growth Report. How proficient are my students at reading the texts they're expected to read for their level? Use the Reading Proficiency report. What book comprehension are my students averaging? Use the book comprehension report. How do I know how many quizzes my students have attempted and passed? Use the quiz pass rate report. Where do I view all metrics for an individual student? Use the reading report card. Where do I view all the metrics for the students in my whole class? Use the class reading report card.